Hello, this is Alexander Green, Chief Investment Strategist with the Oxford Club. And today I want to talk a little bit about the mainstream media and how it distorts reality in a way that both helps and hurts investors. Now, you might wonder how it can do both, but let me explain what I mean. Everybody talks about bias in the media. We talk about liberal bias in the Washington Post and the New York Times and the ABC, CBS, CNN, and conservative bias on Fox News and the Wall Street Journal and Investors Business Daily. And I'll freely concede that there's liberal and conservative bias running throughout the media. But there's a more pervasive bias that cuts across both sides of the aisle and saturates the media, and that's the negativity bias. Because we've all heard the old saying that if it bleeds, it leads. The mainstream media delivers the world through a highly distorted lens that only the terrible, tragic, awful things that are happening every day are really worth hearing about. Of course, most of us are living lives of relative peace and prosperity, and if not relative boredom, compared to all the terrorist attacks and the bankruptcies and the wars and so forth. The media delivers everything, the whole world, through this dark prism. And I used to think, what a shame that things are so distorted that people think we live in an awful world at a terrible time in a horrible country. But I've decided that ultimately it's a good thing because investors around the world are competing for the best investment returns. And people who listen to the mainstream media, who think that everything in the world is as bad as the mainstream media depicts, are at a huge disadvantage. And just today, I was reading a quote by Bob Dylan, and he was being interviewed in the New York Times. And here's what he said. He said, "Good news today is like a fugitive, treated like a hoodlum and put on the run, castigated. All we see is good for nothing news. And we have to thank the media industry for that." I like it, he points out it's an industry. "It stirs people up, gossip and dirty laundry, dark news that depresses and horrifies you." Now, the real irony is he was talking to the New York Times, the greatest purveyor of negative news outside of supermarket tabloids that I know of. But that's just the way it is. And you really have to step back as an investor and realize you're getting a distorted picture of the world. And I say that because, think about it, the U.S. economy is the envy of the world. American lifespans have never been longer. U.S. household net worth has never been higher. Educational attainment has never been greater. So despite the images you see on the TV, things are really not that bad. And as an investor, you have to have some optimism about the future. If you don't, why would you risk $1 of your hard-earned money in the risky stock market if we live in such a terrible world? And the truth of the matter is, yeah, the world is not perfect. There are all kinds of problems out there, problems that need to be solved. But you know what? Between technology, human beings, human ingenuity, and capital markets, we're solving those problems. And those capital markets, our stock and bond markets, are full of opportunities for people who take a more optimistic view of the future. And I've often said that the greatest investors, both today and in the past, people like Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch and John Templeton, they had an optimism about the future that simply didn't have an off switch. And it's a hard thing to do, to listen to all this negative news on the radio, watch it on TV, see these horrible images. And yet, when you look back, all these sell-offs in the market have been followed by a rally, and the long-term direction of the stock market is higher because the long-term direction of corporate profits is higher, and share prices follow earnings. So be aware that this negativity bias exists, that influences people's opinions, it influences markets, but it also creates opportunities for those who understand what's happening and how to take advantage of it. And to learn more about these opportunities, I suggest you click on the link below and subscribe to my free weekly e-letter called Liberty Through Wealth, where we talk about what's happening in the markets and all the different things that you could be looking out for as an investor, both as far as risks and opportunities. So I encourage you to click on the link below and sign up. So until next time, this is Alexander Green. Thanks for watching.